with us. This has been very exciting to be able to have Partners in Rehab come back and talk with us about maintaining condition and staying strong and avoiding the pitfalls of falls. Yeah.
It's a good title.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
But I'm really very grateful that you could take the time and come down and join us. This has been kind of fun. That we've had a whole week with a focus on health education and with our ongoing fitness classes, and we've had nutrition programs, and tomorrow we have a really wonderful presenter from Brigham and Women on the brain health and maintaining brain health and things that we can, with a focus on what can we do in terms of modifiable lifestyle changes. And likewise with maintaining condition, we're able to do that too and prevent falls with often by modifying our, and then sometimes they're just to make that fall less significant too.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's
No
nice
problem.
to
Always a pleasure to be here.
Perfect.
Glad to be back again.
Perfect.
Like she said, we're from Partners in Rehab Physical Therapy. My name is Joe D'Angelo, and this is Marianne. We work here in our local Georgetown office. If you're familiar with Dunkin' Donuts is, we're on the other end of that building right there on 133. We've been in town here, I believe, for about 15, 16 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had strong ties in the community, and we enjoy doing events like this. We're definitely happy to be back here and have a great turnout here today, so thank you for coming down and giving us your time of day here and a little attention. Marianne wants to speak today a little bit about fall prevention. What I want to do is just briefly tell you a little bit about us. We started back in 1996. Like I said, we've been here in Georgetown for about 15 years or so now. We do a lot with orthopedic disorders, any hip, knees, backs, a lot of your aches and pains throughout the day. Our PTs are here, to help you guys get through those aches and pains and keep it moving. Looks like some of you have been with us before, I believe, so even myself, I've gone through our back program. We do a lot with the New England Baptist Hospital for their back boot camp, one of our specialties that we work with. Taking all of insurance, with booking patients within 24 hours, always available to answer any questions you guys may have. So I recommend you come up and take any of the information we have here before you leave today. We have some brochures and business cards, contact information. You can always look for us online at partnersinrehab.com. We have our social medias pages there where we share a lot of our events, different pictures, updates, newsletters, things like that. A newer way to stay kind of connected with our community. So recommend that you go on there and take a look at us and follow along with us. And so passing on to Marianne now. And if you have any questions, like she said, during the meantime, just feel free to ask. And like I said, we're always available anytime to reach on, take a walk on over to us. So enjoy the presentation.
All right. So the most current statistic today is that every year, 1 in every 3 people over the age of 65 will have a fall, which I think that's pretty significant. So today, I wanted to talk briefly about the 3 different systems in our body that give us balance. Also to talk a little bit about the effects that disease has on balance and some strategies to prevent loss of balance and falls as we age. And then lastly, I wanted to touch upon exercises that could help you improve on your balance. So if we start with the 3 different systems in the body that are responsible for balance, you have the visual system, something called the vestibular system, and the proprioceptive system. So a person's sense of balance definitely relies on the interplay between these 3 systems. Together, the 3 systems work together to send signals to our brain, and then our brain processes the information that's sent to it, helping to give you a sense of spatial orientation, which in turn equals your ability to stay upright, balance. So if we talk first about the visual system, I think we all know that you need your eyes in order to see where your body is in space, where your head is in space in relationship to the world around you. If you think about when vision is compromised, an easy example of this is when we wake up in the middle of the night, it's dark. If we have to go to the bathroom, we will tend to walk more cautiously, slowly in the dark because we've lost that vision input from the brain. Vision I think we'll all agree, as we get older, is definitely one of the body systems that inevitably and naturally just declines with age. The second system is the vestibular system. This is probably the most complicated out of the three. This system makes up balance organs that are located in the inner ear. And they tell your brain about the movements of the position of your head in space. Some of you may have friends, or you yourself have suffered from a condition called vertigo. I know when I meet a lot of folks where I'm working at the clinic, it's a very common disorder. And that's when sometimes the crystals of the inner ear become dislodged. And then that can literally make you feel like you're spinning or the world around you is spinning. Sure enough, if you're alone in your home and you go to get up and something like that is occurring, you can appreciate that could cause, it could turn into a fall. And if it is determined by a physician that you do have some sort of disorder with the vestibular system, with the crystals or the canals in the inner ear, then there are specialists that you can see, and a certain kind of therapy that can actually help correct that. And it's quite successful therapy addressed for vertigo. The last system, which is the system I feel like I deal mostly with, is the proprioception. This includes all of the muscles, the tendons, and the joints of the lower extremity primarily. So there are special sensors in our muscles and tendons and joints, and they help your brain know where your body is in the world. So good balance depends on the three systems working together, and when one of the three systems becomes compromised, then fall risk will definitely increase. So if we talk specifically about disease and balance, if we go back to vision, certainly any changes to normal vision, such as macular degeneration, if you've got residual visual effects from a stroke, your eye changes if you are a diabetic. What you want to make sure you're doing is having regular eye exams, and that all of your prescriptions for your eyeglasses are current. Some other diseases that can affect the second system that I mentioned, which was the vestibular system, this can include an acoustic neuroma. That is a benign tumor that sits in the ear, not cancerous. Again, vertigo, like I mentioned, dizziness, that doesn't come from the inner ear, but a condition that can come from neck. Arthritic changes of the neck, especially the upper neck, can cause what's called cervicogenic dizziness. And I meet a lot of folks who come to me complaining of stiff necks. They have poor mobility, and sometimes dizziness can be a side effect of that. So dizziness is not always simply because of an inner ear problem. All right, so the effects of disease or conditions of the proprioceptive system, again, the muscles, the tendons, and the joints of the lower extremity, and certainly not excluding the arms, typically a loss of mobility or range of motion in the joints, a decrease in strength of the muscles, especially in our feet, our knees, our hips, but also the spine, believe it or not. An overall decline in posture is significantly related to poor balance. If you tend to lurch forward, this changes your center of mass, your center of gravity, and also in turn, when you're walking, it affects how well your hip muscles, the ones in the front especially, how much they can fire or how much you're calling on them. Meanwhile, all of the back muscles, because you're in this prolonged stooped forward position, which is very common, all of the back muscles, because they're in a prolonged stretch, over time it becomes very weak. I'm very concerned for our young population in school, because they're constantly doing computer work and looking down at devices. Their necks, back of the upper back muscles are constantly being stretched, and over time it just causes weakness. So some typical conditions that maybe some of you have seen an orthopedic physician for include osteoarthritis, cervical or lumbar stenosis, that's a narrowing of our spinal column, osteoporosis, and then certainly diseases like diabetic neuropathy, MS, and stroke, Parkinson's disease. I had attended a conference 2 weekends ago in New Hampshire, and there were a couple of presenters. One particularly was talking about how to measure whether a person was at a high fall risk. One of the things they looked at was strength asymmetry. So the difference of our strength from one side of our body to the other, right? And this particular study had shown that older adults had an average of 15 to 20% difference. So if you take the example of maybe your hip is hurting, maybe your knee is hurting. So hip and knee, you've got your big quadricep muscle here. That's your extensor power. Very important with walking up and down stairs, bending down to get something below waist level, just walking. If you have a condition like hip arthritis or knee arthritis, this quad can become quite weak. And so the study also showed that 60% of the fallers had a knee extension quad power asymmetry of greater than 10%, which is pretty significant. Some more specific examples can be bony changes in our feet. Oftentimes I meet folks who are coming to me for foot pain or heel pain. And if I have them stand without their shoes and socks, you can appreciate a lot of bony changes. So things like bunions, both the big toes and the little toes. Sometimes the arches can collapse. Hammer toes. These are things that lead to a loss of foot strength. And this can in turn slow down what's called a reaction time. So for example, if you're walking and the surface you're walking over suddenly changes, so it could be a wet floor in the supermarket, it could be in the winter when you're walking on pavement and there's a patch of black ice. Even summertime, you could be walking on your sidewalk and there's a curb or grass or mulch. Those bony changes and that loss of intrinsic foot strength, so the muscles in the arch of the foot, if they're weak in any way, your reaction time to be able to stop your body or slow your body down, it's affected, it changes, and that in turn, it can lead to a fall. We talked about knee pain, and we talked about the thigh muscle. If I go back to that weak thigh muscle, that's the power muscle when you're going upstairs. Very important going downstairs. A lot of times when I meet people and I talk to them about some of the things that they're having trouble doing, whether it's from back pain, hip pain, or knee pain, is going down the stairs in a normal pattern. Oftentimes they feel like they've got to slow their movements down, hold the railing, which is all good things to do if you don't feel safe. Or do, that non-reciprocal pattern where you step down like so. We talked a little bit about the spinal stenosis, where it causes that sort of forward stoop to your posture. So important to try to practice proper posture, even if it means when you stand up. A lot of times folks who are suffering from lumbar, low back spinal stenosis, so remember it's that narrowing of the spinal canal. When they get up from a seated position, it's often very difficult. They want to stay like this because the body feels best like this. Oftentimes it's very, very difficult, or it just takes longer for them to be able to come more upright. But what I would advise is to take that time and slow your body down, because if you go to step quickly like that, if you remember I said your hip and your thigh are not working efficiently there, then again it opens that door up to falling. So if we talk a little bit about some strategies to prevent falls, well, exercise is one of the best things, really. Proper footwear, avoiding sandals or floppy slippers. So going back to that person who's got pretty significant bone changes, so bunions where that big toe bone is sticking out quite a bit, it's tough to put that foot in a normal shoe or your shoe size. And a lot of times I meet folks that wear sandals almost year round. They'll put socks on with sandals when the weather gets cold. That's tough because now you've got this sort of, your toes are exposed, and then you've got that surface of the sole here that's flapping a little bit, and if it catches, again, it opens up, it makes you more vulnerable to falling. So proper footwear is very important. If you look at your home, you could scan each room and look for hazards. Area rugs, you want to make sure that they're flat and use non-slip mats, especially at the bathroom and kitchen sinks. Night lights in hallways are fantastic. I myself use them. They're on all night, so this way if you do have to get up to go to the bathroom, the path could be illuminated for you. Declutter the house. Everything off the floor is your best bet to avoid tripping. Assistive devices, making sure that if you do have a flight of stairs, whether it's to the basement or a second level of your home, is it possible to put a railing on a side that it isn't there, and maybe your body wants it to be there? So that's something that a carpenter can do. The bathroom. I think for some people, when they are vulnerable to a fall or know that their balance is declining, I think that the bathroom is probably one of the most scary places. So you want to make sure that bars are installed where you need them, whether it's to the toilet or in the shower, when you're getting out of the shower, as you come over if you've got a tub. Another thing to consider is a raised toilet seat. They've got lots of different products now. Tub chairs can be very helpful, especially if your stamina, your endurance to stand up is compromised in any way, because you want to make sure that you're as energetic as possible when you're moving in and out of that tub. Handheld showers then go with the tub chair so that you can bring it down. If you think of rooms where you spend a lot of time in, like the kitchen perhaps, you want to look at cabinets. If you've got a lot of items that you find are up high that you're using a lot and you might have to grab a step stool to get them, who's to say why couldn't you just change that organization and put them more waist level, where you don't have to use that step stool, easier to access. Basically, in conclusion, shaky balance can be a very downward spiral. I think that this is where fall prevention and maintaining condition are so crucial. They go hand in hand. People naturally will move less when they're not confident with their body's movements. If they're if they're constantly in fear of falling, then they will go out less, you will socialize less, and you will just be more sedentary. So, if you think about all of the muscles that we talked about, the hip muscles, the knee muscles, the intrinsic feet muscles, if you don't use it, you lose it. I will use that expression. So that's why just some daily exercise is so important, because you don't want the unsteadiness to get worse. I think that there are some specific and simple exercises that can enhance your balance. Beneficial to do like a daily routine. Think of it as a daily vitamin, if you will. It can help improve your stability, prevent fall. So I just wanted to take the time to go through some of those exercises. Does anybody have any questions so far? No? Calf muscle, very important walking muscle, because as we bring our leg forward, if you've ever come to see me for physical therapy and I'm teaching you or recommending that you walk the best you can walk, I'm always saying make sure you strike the ground with your heel first. If you've got tight calves, that's very difficult. So easy to either rest your hands on a surface, table, counter, or wall, and you just step back and lean your body forward, making sure that the heel is flat in back, and I'm getting a nice stretch in my lower calf. If you are not able to do that in standing, you don't need anything fancy. I'm going to take off my belt to show you that you don't need anything fancy. Just a nice long belt. Let's pretend this is a sofa. I'm going to get down on the ground. Sorry. You can have your leg resting on the couch or your bed. You could even be sitting on a couch and rest your foot on a step stool. And right at the top of the foot, you just pull towards you. So I'm getting a nice calf stretch back there. So that's just one little stretch you could do. I often call on the kitchen sink as a nice place, a nice safe place to do exercises, or counter, it doesn't have to be a sink, where you just start to hold your balance. It seems like nothing, but in these wooden shoes I'm wearing today, you might appreciate my foot is wiggling a lot, right? And you might see that too, but that's why you should do the exercise. That calls on those intrinsic foot muscles that I mentioned. The weaker they are, and the ankle muscles, the more difficult it would be for you to pick up one leg. But you just try and hold it. 1, 2, 3, and you don't have to let go. You can, I call this tenting, just putting your fingertips on the surface. So it's pretty safe. You could even put a chair behind you. If you need to take a break, you sit. If you're excelling at that and you say, that's way too easy, I can do that all day long, you could turn your body. So again, you're always trying to be safe. And you could stand on the leg, and then you could do some movements here where you swing the leg 3 different ways. And this dynamic movement of my body, it's making my left leg have to work that much harder. Sitting to stand without using your hands is an excellent exercise. And again, I think safe, because the chair's behind you. So just coming slow on the way down, and then try to stand up again without hands. And you don't want to sit way back. Better to maybe scoot to the edge, bending knees, making sure that the feet are tucked under the knees, and lean forward and up. seems like it is a thing you do every day. But oftentimes you might find that the weaker your legs become, the weaker your back becomes, you really need to rely on a lot of things to stand up. So if you try to isolate that exercise, it can become a nice functional strengthening exercise. Let's see. Box step, a little more advanced if you're really trying to challenge yourself, is simply that, is to just, like you're dancing.
Foxtrot.
Yeah. You could play around with your base of support. We're always most stable like this. So you could try to stand in what's called a tandem stance. And again, you're always near something that you can touch, a wall, a kitchen sink. Marching in place is also easy, where you're just doing that. And then, again, if you've come to see me for balance problems, I make you do some hip exercises too, where the stronger your hip muscles are, the better. And then kicking back. It doesn't seem like much, but again, if you look at it like a daily vitamin, like you brush your teeth every day, it matters. It makes a difference. Okay. In closing, physical therapy can play a huge role in evaluation and treatment of people who are concerned that their gait is declining or their reaction time is declining, that they overall feel like they're losing balance in social situations. We can help determine what the impairments are based on tests and measures that we have, and then that lets us develop an individual treatment plan, which typically addresses flexibility and strength. So you can mention it to your doctor first, certainly. Again, especially if you suspect that it's an inner ear issue, because then the doctor, based on your symptoms, can determine if you do need to see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. But in the state of Massachusetts, you don't have to see your primary care physician to come and see me. I do not require a prescription from your doctor to evaluate you for physical therapy. So you just can call us directly.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Would the insurance still pay for it if you didn't have a prescription?
Good question. They will pay for it. Medicare, if we're talking about the population that's 65 and older.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be very diligent about, I use the expression crossing all my T's and dotting all my I's. I have to make sure in my evaluation that it's medically necessary and that I can show progress. If you use the word plateau, if you're coming to see us a couple of times a week for so many weeks, and I do re-exams regularly, if there's a plateau in that measurable progress, then no, Medicare will not pay for that. But that happens very little. We have lots of standardized tests and measures that we use. Mm-hmm. Medicare is the gold standard. All of the other commercial insurances follow Medicare's guidelines pretty much. So, usually when you do come to see a physical therapist, depending on the condition, it can be anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. Surgical conditions sometimes can be longer, 10 to 12 weeks. And some people might think, well, how can I get stronger in that short amount of time? To go back to that course a couple of weekends ago, there was a very good study done not too long ago that showed a 30% strength gain with physical therapy in just 2 months, 8 weeks. Now, so I think that's good. I don't expect if you're coming to physical therapy, that when we're done, I never guarantee that you're going to be 100% better or you're never going to fall. That I can't guarantee that. But we at least empower you, we give you knowledge to learn a program that you go forward with, and that's that. You do independently. Oh, can I mention one more thing? And this might be really cool for if you guys are going to attend that discussion tomorrow. If you look at walking, if we take executive function, so executive function is, we all have it, it's our ability to plan, to organize, to complete a task. With age, a study from 2010 in the Journal of Gerontology, with age that slows down, okay? I think I'm not telling you anything you don't know. As we get older, it's important to do things like puzzles and read and socialize, because that is like exercise for executive function. This particular study showed that walking, if you look at walking as a shared, sort of like a shared task, like for example, if you're walking down the road with a friend and then you're talking or you're socializing, that it's difficult for a person who is doing two things at once, so to speak. It's difficult as we get older for that reason, that the fact that our executive function just sort of declines and slows down. I found that really interesting, to think of sort of walking as a shared task with every other thing that we do as we get older. I just wanted to share that with you. All right. Any more questions?
Well, I mean, just as you said, I mean, walking, think of all the systems that are involved
Right.
in terms of walking, so then if we add in, conversing with somebody else.
Conversing with someone.
Together.
Yep.
you
It's
know,
a distraction.
You're engaging
Mhm.
in those areas. I mean, and the issue with executive function is that the process speed slows.
Yes.
So it's trying to, the more that we do that, it's a challenge, and sometimes it's adding something new or something in reverse, or, we'll add to, our brain health in that regard.
Yes.
But again, put in a plug for our walking club or for coming for, strength training or
important.
yoga. It's not only just the exercises.
It's not just the social
Yeah.
aspect.
And all of that comes together for good brain health.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then tossing a healthy lunch. And
Yes, absolutely.
This is the place to be.
Yes.
You're talking about valuation. Okay?
Yes.
I've been with you people.
Yes.
Just for instance, I've had arthroscopic knee, I have a
Yes.
new hip,
Yes.
both shoulders have been done.
Okay.
I have degenerative disc disease and neuropathy in
Okay.
my feet.
So you
So
recognized a
balance
lot
for
of
me-
what I talked about.
Yeah, and stairs, and the iliopsoas is gone.
Oh.
I cannot lift up my right leg,
Yeah.
I can't climb.
Right.
So of course, we have a stair lift in the house.
Sure.
all right? But when you talk about closing eyes,
Mhm.
we moved into an over 55 community, and we're really shocked to find out no bars in the shower.
Oh,
We have
that's
them
weird.
installed, because when I close my eyes in the shower,
You would.
I have to hold on. But
Oh, to wash your hair, sure. You gotta
everything.
close your
But now,
eyes.
when you said evaluation, I've been through,
Mhm.
can someone like me come in for like
Mhm.
a reevaluation? I'm at a point now where I'd like to be able to do something maybe to get back, not get back, but
Mhm.
it's getting everything is difficult.
Okay, sure.
Okay?
So you want to
That's-
know if you can come
Yeah,
back?
someone like me who's already been through all the therapies and repeated therapies,
Mhm.
but not for a long time now.
Then you just answered my question. I was going to ask you, when was your last course? If it was in this calendar year, then,
I'm not sure.
so in our setting, because we're a freestanding clinic, we're not attached to a hospital, Medicare gives us a cap, unfortunately. In a calendar year, that cap is 16 visits.
Okay,
So here we are, 2018, it's October.
okay, I'd have to look to see, I did go for some, but like, when we go to the doctor for a checkup and if I'm having a problem with one of the situations, he did whatever it is, so I could go, and they tried to help me get the iliopsoas stretched out
right.
a little. But that was the only thing they did.
Yes.
nothing to do with other things.
You can come for an evaluation. That's where we do all our tests and measures. I have to throw in some standardized tests that Medicare likes. If we can show a need and there's a medical necessity, then yes, you have therapy. So
Okay.
yes, you can come.
Okay.
If the therapist you meet feels like, gee, this isn't impacting you in any way functionally, based on my exam, I don't think you need to be here, we'll be honest with you. But that
Yeah.
rarely
Yeah, other than a
happens.
stair lift, I find it easier to go downstairs if I have to backwards.
Yeah, that's
It's
common.
much easier.
Yeah.
Someone who had a big problem said go down backwards and it works.
Because you're not having to use
And
the
I have double
psoas and the
rails.
quad. Right.
It's hard to
Good
explain
question.
to people when you're
Yeah.
out and they see you going down backwards.
Yeah, no.
It's a little bit.
No, it makes sense
But,
to me.
And they are allowing, I'm the first one at the over 55. I'm having railings, because there are no railings to go out of the house.
Is this the place,
Down
in
North Street.
Yeah.
I'm the first one, had to go before
Imagine,
the
you would think
board, they've
that's
approved
built
it.
in.
They're in,
Or-
it's only 2
See?
steps,
Yeah.
but then there's big pillars. I have to like try to hug the pillar and go down backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's gonna be
Interesting.
done now.
Good.
We pay for it ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
But I'll be the first, and they said there's already others that need, that's one of the safety things. I have to go out the
Sure.
garage. I can't go out the front door.
Sure.
Okay.
Good question. Yeah, so physical therapists practice autonomy in this state. So that's why I say, for Medicare, you don't need a prescription. I don't want to say all commercial insurances because I can think of 2 that you do require prescription. But again, usually over the age of 65, Medicare is the primary insurance. So don't worry about it. Any other questions? It can be unrelated to balance. You don't have to ask that.
Well, we're definitely here just to promote the physical therapy aspect of getting better, because it's more beneficial for you than using anything else. Right now, a big push for the American Physical Therapy Association is its National Physical Therapy Month in October. So they're putting out a lot of information out right now as to different ways that physical therapy is beneficial for you, rather than having to go in for any surgery or masking it with any pain medication. A lot of people tend to do that, and it brings you into a downward spiral. The medication can make you drowsy, can end up making you have a fall. You get dizzy from the medication. You can get addicted to it, which is definitely a big case right now with the opioid epidemics in Massachusetts. So a lot of the docs have been pushing for physical therapy to go first, because it's going to be a better way for you to heal. You don't want to mask the pain so that you just don't feel it for the day. You want to be able to actually attack the pain and figure out what it is that's going to help you out. So, and that's why we're here. So we're right down the street. Any questions you may think of any other time after this, definitely feel free to contact, reach us out. Take a walk down, go get your stroll on a nice day like this today. We're not even a half mile down the street. You can take a walk down there and come visit us, check out our facility, see the equipment we work with, talk to our PTs, get to know our staff. We're there for you guys to feel better. So, thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Pleasure meeting you all, talking with you all.
Well, what were
Yeah, I
you
know, right?
saying? Were you
I'm not good
having a
myself.
walk?